So I'm Shelley Harper. I'm one of the research librarians. I'm a liaison to anthropology and to history. And I brought with me Steve Lawson, also a research librarian. And you are...
For most of the humanities division, and I'm also the circulation supervisor.
So he's not very busy. So what we're going to do today is share some information about how to access some of the online resources of the library during the construction. Before I get there, though, I'd like to know sort of what your questions are, maybe what role in the college that you have, so I can tailor what we're going to work on to what you might need. So.
Okay, hi, my name is Sasha Sapp. I'm a junior, complet major, Spanish minor, and I'll be here for blocks A and B this summer.
Oh, good.
And I also want to try to get like a foot in on my thesis. So I kind of, I'll need the library. So I kind of just want to know, like, since it'll be, under construction, how do I still access resources and stuff?
Excellent. Okay.
My name's Karen Smith, and I work with Ray Evatt in the Office of the Dean. And besides just a personal interest, I foresee students falling upstairs in the second floor of Armstrong while Tut's being worked on. So in case they ask any questions, I'll have an overview.
Perfect.
I'm Jim Schultz from the Spencer Building, and assistant program analyst.
Oh, good.
And I was just curious.
Good luck getting. Besides, you got food.
Yeah, who knows?
Okay. So I'm going to start out by having Steve talk to you guys just a little bit about how students or anybody else who needs to get print materials will be able to get a hold of those during construction, because all of our print collection will be going to an out-of-library storage unit that's across Uinta on Glen Street. So we have been busy devising, or Steve has been busy devising ways to make it as easy as possible for students and all other users of the library to request print materials to come back to the library so that people can pick them up. So
Sure. So you guys don't mind if I just sit, I hope. The plan is, if you've been in the library recently, you've seen that all the bound periodicals on the second floor have been moved onto big wooden carts. The original hope was that this storage facility that we're calling Creekside, the original hope was that Creekside would be ready to receive those materials by spring break. Not quite. We're still waiting for Creekside to be ready for us to have the moving company, the professional movers move these things in. So all of those things are going to move in. All the books in the circulating collection are going to move into that Creekside location, pretty much starting as soon as school is over this year. As soon as graduation is over, everything starts moving as quickly as they can make it move. I guess maybe I should get up and just demo real fast, because
that'd be great.
What's going to happen is the books will be requestable through the catalog. Okay, so we realize it's unfortunate that you won't be able to browse the collection anymore, right? So when you're working on your thesis and things like that, that will be a little bit less convenient. You won't be able to just go to the shelf and browse the collection, but you will instead be able to use the library catalog, the same as you always have. And so let's see if we're working on what's your thesis topic going to be? Do you know?
Not sure. It might be translation project.
Sure. So she's looking for things on translation theory. The same as she would have done, today. And we use the library catalog to figure out what books we have in the library. But instead of going to Tut North Basement and getting the book off the shelf yourself, you're going to click onto the record. And right up here it says request. We're probably going to redesign that button to make it a little more prominent. The way we have this Prospector button here kind of stands out. The request button, we're going to just give that a little graphic design refresh so that it's a little more obvious for everybody. You're going to click on that. It's not going to do anything particular right now. It's going to say this copy is actually available. But once the books are in that Creekside facility, you'll hit request. You'll put in your name and your Tiger number, and then it'll let you know when you should expect that book to be at the circulation desk in Tut South. The north part of the library will be completely closed while the renovation is happening. All of us who do public services are going to be squeezed into the south side of the library, the side that has the Learning Commons now. That's where we're going to be.
Calling it the lifeboat.
The lifeboat, yeah, we'll be in the lifeboat. And the actual door to the library will be on the east side where those big plate glass windows are on the first floor on the south side, if you can picture that. There'll be a new handicapped accessible entrance there. So anyway, you'll make your request here. We believe right now we're going to probably be sending somebody as a courier basically to retrieve books from that storage facility twice a day. You'll know, if you get your request in by this time, you should be able to pick it up by that time. We'll also send people an email just to let them know the book that you asked for, we have it waiting for you at the circulation desk. If there's ever any problem, we can't find the book that you wanted, we'll let you know that as soon as we possibly can and suggest what your recourse is at that point. Does that all make sense so far?
So you're saying like, not the side, where we all normally go into the library?
Right.
That won't be open.
That will not be open because they're going to close the main part of the library. That's the north side where you come in. And then there's that kind of bridge area that you walk across. That's going to be either completely gone or at least shut off. And so then you will come in on the east side, like from the quad, like from the Palmer side. That's where you'll enter the actual building. Does that make sense? Yeah. What else was I going to say about all this? Oh, I was thinking about you said that you're going to be here during blocks A and B. The summer is going to be the most interesting time because the collection is going to be, some of it will have been moved to Creekside, some of it will still be in the library. It's going to take them about 60 days to move out all of the books and other materials that they're going to have to move out of the library into that Creekside storage facility.
Oh, if I can, we were talking today to faculty, and all of the collections, correct me if I'm wrong, if you laid it out end to end, would be 8 miles, including the periodicals?
If you not even laid out end to end, if you just put them on the shelf.
Oh, wow.
8 miles of shelving, basically, yeah. So that's how much stuff has to get moved. So you can see why it's going to take that long. So what's probably going to happen, and this, a lot of the things that the stuff Shelley's going to talk about with the online resources, that's pretty much in place now, and it'll stay the same throughout all this. The stuff I'm telling you about, we're still figuring out exactly how the details are going to work. So you'll forgive me if something changes a little bit. But it may be the case where at some point, it seems likely at some point, probably pretty early on, we're just going to have to say, everything is going to be you're going to request it through the library catalog. Even if we happen to know, well, it's actually still in the basement, we'll go get it for you. Because of some of the behind-the-scenes things that we have to do to check the books in and out and things like that. So things are going to be, they may be a little confusing over the summer. I'm the Complet librarian and the Spanish librarian, so if you want to talk to somebody about this beforehand, we can talk. As you talk to your friends or as you guys talk to students, especially, you might just let them know that if they're planning on doing a lot of work this summer, they should probably start thinking about it now and just kind of planning out how that's gonna work.
There are some ways that you can use different indexes in the catalog to kind of browse what's in there if you need, especially at the beginning stages of the thesis. And talking to Steve or your subject specialist librarian would be a really good way to figure out how to do that.
Right, the virtual browse here, like if I'm interested in this translation theory and practice in the Middle Ages, you know how call numbers in the library, they keep similar books together, right? So I can click on the call number here. It's going to show me a list of call numbers, which is not very, it's just call numbers, that's not very helpful. But there's this, and I'm going to confess, I learned this like this week. There's this button here that says extended display. And then I click that, now all of a sudden, I have titles as well as call numbers. And so it's virtually not, it's not as fun as browsing the stacks full of books, but you can basically get a virtual browse. You can say what would be next to that book, and so you can see these are all books about translation, right? They're all next to one.
And it'll still say whether or not it's in.
Right. It'll still say, right, exactly. It'll let you know if someone else already has it checked out or if it's ready to be requested for you to get. What else was I thinking about the early summer? There's just one thing I wanted to say, Shelley, before letting you get onto the main part of this.
Can you tell them about articles too? Article requests that we're going to do.
Well, if there's an article that you need that's in a bound journal, a journal that we own in paper, normally again you would just go on the second floor and you grab that from there. But as I mentioned, those are all loaded up. Those are going to be in that Creekside storage facility as well. There will be a similar way to get a copy, to get the bound paper journal if you need it. It's a little bit messier because you're going to have to tell us exactly what year or what volume you need and things like that. So it's going to be a little less than that one-click request. You're going to click a link, fill out a slightly longer form. But then at that point, it's the same procedure. We'll get the bound journal, bring it to Tut South for you. You can come and get it.
And that is not using the research databases where you have an electronic, say, PDF copy. This is only if you have to get the article from the printed journal, bound journal collection that we've got.
I think the other thing I was going to say was actually more just a general thing when I was thinking about this summer. Things are going to be weird. Things are going to be moving around. It's going to be different. We know that. It's going to be a lot of change in our lives for sure, and we know it's going to be a lot of change in your guys' lives. Just come ask us questions. Just come ask us. We don't expect everyone to know because things may change, on a daily or weekly basis, especially over the summer. So if you're working with a student or trying to find things on your own, and you're like, geez, I'm not really sure what to do, give us a call. We're going to show them like the online, how to get to the reference librarian online. We'll still be here, okay? Everything's going to be different, but we're not going away. It's our mission to serve the college and serve you guys and make sure that people are able to accomplish their academic goals that they need the library for.
Do you know where in TutSat the student picks up the request?
Yeah, as you come in that new door that we were talking about, pretty much immediately to your right, Weston is leaving the cat lab area that's there, and then there is a reception desk there. We're going to actually move the physical circulation desk to that spot. So it's going to be immediately as you come in, and the same as if today, if you ordered a book through Prospector and we got it for you, or anything that you had was waiting for you to get the circulation desk, that'll be the same procedure. I'll be right here, so if
Thanks,
you
Steve.
have other circulation type questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Okay, so please tell me you've seen this page. Please tell me you've seen this page. This is the homepage for the library. And I'm going to just give you a kind of rapid tour of some of the things that you can use to get a hold of us. Like Steve said, I'm going to start with that, and then some of the online resources that you can use for research or just trying to find information. So to start with, based on what Steve was saying, if you need to figure out who the liaison is for a particular topic, you can come right over here to find your librarian, and you can click by name or by subject area, but let's look at subject area. There's, look,
There I am.
look at that.
Same shirt, I think, too.
Oh, they're out of kilter again. We keep changing this and it keeps... Anyway, so these are divided into the different divisions. So here's humanities. Steve, Jessie's not showing it, but she's the special collections archivist. And then Daryl Stevens is the music librarian. Let's see if any of these look a little bit better. Yeah, these are overlapping too. Everybody's overlapping. So these, along with myself and my two fellow social science librarians. So this is where you can get information about us, so you'll know who covers what. This is out of date. I'm not doing FemGen anymore. I'm history and anthropology, and email, you can get a hold of me, and you can get to my research guides profile. And there should be a button, but I think it might be through the other direction. So find librarians by name. This is where that other link goes to. And with this one, you've got a button that says schedule an appointment with the librarian. So part of what we've been focusing on is trying to make it as easy as possible for students and everybody else to get a hold of us. So we have some online software that will enable us to make appointments. It pulls data from our Outlook calendars. And it's very cool because it takes care of all the emailing. So if you make an appointment, it emails me and it emails you a confirmation. If one of us changes the appointment, it'll email that out. It'll email a reminder so that you remember to keep the appointment and I remember to be there. So it's really kind of interesting, and that's a very easy way to make sure that you've got my focused attention or Steve's, that we aren't going to be teaching a class or working at the research desk or something like that, and that we can figure out the most convenient place to meet and all of that. So that's a really good way to get a hold of us. But this has also got our email and phone numbers as well. So this would be one that I would definitely bookmark or something like that. So from the home page, probably the easiest way to do this is to just do find by name. So rather than start by subject area, I'd start by name, because you kind of have to shoot over to that page to get that make an appointment button to be able to get a hold of us. Do you think you might use something like that to make an appointment with Steve?
Probably.
You can't talk to him now, but meeting it, you have to. Just kidding.
But you know, that's maybe one other thing, if maybe I was clear about it, maybe we weren't. Pretty much all of us who do public services are gonna be in that Tut South building. So I'm actually not moving at all. My office is currently now the map room is gonna be an open study room. But all of us who work directly with students and faculty will be in that Tut South building. Some of the folks who work behind the scenes are gonna be in the old cleaners building next to Woodlands, or where that is in that block. But those of us who really work directly with scholars will still be very available.
We are not being taken to the cleaners.
Correct. Nor are we being put in storage.
Okay. So a couple of other ways to get in touch with us or communicate. We do have an IM or a chat button. So this is available when someone is at the research desk. And in a minute, I'm going to show you some research guides, and the librarians have the capability of putting a chat that just goes to them on their research guide. So if I have a guide about anthropology, I could put in a chat box that just goes to me. And the chat box only shows up when I'm monitoring that channel. So if that's available, that's a direct link to that particular librarian, if you see that. Okay. How many of you guys have used research guides or databases? A couple people have. Chad, I am surprised.
Well, I did
Back in the day. Okay, so since we're kind of on this area down here, let me show you the research guides. If you click here, it'll go to the main portal for the guides. Here again is the meet with the librarian. You can click on this and you have a choice of which librarian you want to meet with. So the way that this, and then the general chat is here as well. So the way that we have this organized, we've done guides on broad subjects like anthropology. We have the guides that are for classes. This block will show up under that tab, if I remember to set that up to do that. This block 7, we had a problem getting that done on time. But so there's block 7 classes, block 6, and so on before that. So if you're in a particular class, you can look for your class there. All of the course guides are under this. So without it being related to which block, you can look in alphabetical order by title to see which ones you might want to play with. And then we just have some general guides that aren't necessarily academic. Advancement, alumni, birding. Yeah.
Avid birder is one of our librarians.
And things like copyright, there's a little tutorial on how to use the EBooks. So, there it is. So this is what one of the guides looks like. We can do a lot with these guys. So we can make pages as many as we need. We can embed files for people to download. We can embed images, as you can see. We can embed videos and presentations in these. So there's a lot of variety of things that we can do, and depending on what any individual instructor wants, for the course guides, we tend to go based on what they want us to do. So let me go back and just show you a course guide here. So I did a course guide a few semesters ago for Jane Murphy, who's a history professor. And she was doing the history of medicine. So I did a guide for her that had very specific things that she wanted. So to start with, there's a couple of Prezi tutorials to help people catch up if they can't look at a citation and know if it's citing a book or a journal or whatever. And then a tutorial about using different kinds of search words with databases. But it does have a couple of things that they could download, some links to places she wanted them to go look for finding resources. And then this is a live page from the catalog that you can actually search, but it starts with a search on the history of medicine. So if I wanted to change that, I could, or if I want to look at this, I can click on it and get the information. So this is just without having to leave the live guide, the research guide, you can go ahead and look at the catalog. And then all of the groups had to do a Prezi presentation, so I loaded them up here so everybody could see them. And it's going to take it a second to load. But so that was what she wanted. But some of the other things, what are some things you put on course guides, Steve?
That's a good question. I usually try to stay pretty close to just the main things that I think that the students are gonna need to use. It's nice that it's this flexible, that you can put things like the Prezis and stuff. I don't think anybody wants to do something like that. I tend to stay pretty close to just what are the top bets for students in that class in terms of finding online resources.
So this is definitely something, especially since you can't come in and browse the books, you can take a look at some of these, and depending on what the professor or the librarian thinks will be helpful for you to have clumped together in one local place, you might be able to find some resources for an assignment in one of those. Okay. Do you guys have questions about the research guides? Okay. All right. So I'm going to go back to the library homepage. So that was one way to get a hold of things, of assignment information. We are, of course, how are we doing on time, Weston?
We got about 10 minutes.
Okay. Okay. So I want to focus some time on the databases themselves. Sorry, keep tapping on the wrong thing. But I did want to point out a couple things before we get there. So Iliad is for ILL, which is Interlibrary Loan. Doesn't mean you're sick. It means Interlibrary Loan. And that is where you would go, especially to request articles out of journals. If we don't have it in print and it's the PDF or HTML copy is not available in our databases, that's where you can request it. It does require a login, but it's pretty user-friendly, straightforward about what you need to do. The other thing that I wanted to point out is Prospector. Do you guys know what Prospector is? Do you know what Prospector is?
That's almost like the database, right? Is it kind of like EBSCO?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it a union catalog of regional libraries?
It is.
You're
How
cheating.
did you know that? So around Colorado and a little bit into Wyoming, and I'm not sure where else, but it's this region, there are libraries that cooperate by sending materials to other libraries and via courier that works just for Prospector. So we have Prospector rather than some other systems that we could have, specifically because they tend to be faster than the other systems that we could get. With the block plan, we really need to get things here as quickly as possible. So if you're in the catalog and you're searching for something, you saw the Prospector button a minute ago when Steve was showing you the catalog. If we don't have what you need, or it's checked out, you can just click on Prospector and it will go to their records and it will allow you to request it through Prospector. Or you can just go to Prospector to begin with if you've already done some searching and you know that we don't have it, and search by subject, just like you would at our catalog, and then be able to request it through there. The other thing that I wanted to just let you know about, and I'm not going to have as much time as I'd hoped, but when you're in the catalog, you'll see a lot of EBooks. Do you know how many EBooks we have now?
I don't.
Gazillions.
Yeah, I'm sure it's growing, if not daily, then monthly.
So especially when it's difficult to you cannot get into the library to actually get a book, being able to access a book online might be really helpful. And we've got a growing collection of ebooks, so don't disregard those when you see them. The way that you read them is it says, click here to view this item, and it takes you to an online reader and you can take a look at the ebook.
If I were to just look, if I were to just use 5 books, if I were looking for a book, it's
Uh-huh.
there.
Yeah, if we it's going to bring up everything that we've got, if it's print or if it's electronic.
I think if you did that translation theory one that I did before, I think there were ebooks right on that first page.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think that second one is an ebook perhaps?
Yeah, see where an ebook is going to say an electronic resource?
There we go. Where's this at? Oh, right. It says, yeah, location ebooks, the call number, it tells you like which of the publishers, which you don't care about. And then there it says World Wide Web link on the right-hand side of the record there.
Below the red.
Yep, right here.
Can you try to open it?
So what I would do, the thing that makes most sense to me, there's lots of routes that you can do this, is I click on the title and bring up this record, and then it says view electronic book right here. You do have to have an account with DDA, so if you don't, it'll make you log in. Unauthorized access. Thank you. But I could sign in.
Is it like that for all ebooks or?
The publishers are different, but yeah, all of it, except for EBSCO, I think. Does it make you show your Tiger number if you've
So
already
they
done
all
it?
have various hoops you have to jump through. Some are
Yeah.
easier than others. That would be another great, I would love it if they were all just super easy to use. If
Me
you just
too.
clicked on it, you got right into it. But unfortunately, that's not how they set them up for us. That's again something where if you're doing it the first time on campus or something like that, or you hit one of these things,
You
give us a call, give us a
Chat.
give us a chat.
Yeah.
And we'll help you make sure that everything gets set up.
Let's see if this one works
I
easier.
wish I had a better answer than that. I mean, we have the guide for these that will step you through it if you're really averse to talking to another human being, but,
Okay, so
we
this
like to
is
help you.
this is a different one.
Yeah, this one's easier to use, for sure.
Yep, Springer. And so here's the table of contents. They're all hyperlinked. And I can look at it or I can download it. So here's view chapter. And it's going to open up the reader so I can take a look at it. Some people don't like to read online, but given the convenience of it, a lot of people do like it. And given the construction, it might really come in handy. Okay. I just remembered, Weston, we said we could go 15 minutes over.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, maybe, is 3 o'clock the stated end time?
3:15. Okay, so let's talk about databases. Databases are online resources that you can search to find all kinds of different information, but especially for academic assignments, the way I like to think about it is a database is a swimming pool full of academic assignments, and you can choose a database by subject. So full of academic assignments, generally in the subject area you're looking for. It's much more efficient, it's much more reliable academic quality sources. If you're Googling something, even Google Scholar, you're still searching the whole universe of the web and all of the things that are on it. So it's much less efficient than that focused search for academic resources. So I try to help students and everybody else know that using the databases is really more efficient and time-saving than trying to Google something first. It's a slow road for education, but we keep trying. But to get to the databases, you would just click that A to Z resources, and this is our databases portal. If we have a new or a trial database, you can see it over here. But we've got over 300 databases, and that can be really overwhelming to just take a look at and figure out what you should do. So what I'll usually do is drop down the subject menu and pick something so it will narrow it down to my subject. So if I do anthropology, it's going to narrow it down to 14. And the individual subject librarians have done these best bets. So these are the 3 databases that I think are probably most likely to have some of the kinds of materials you might be looking for, depending what it is you're looking for. And this is related to anthropology, so ERAF is a lot of ethnography if you know anthropology. But you can look through the rest of the list is alphabetical by title. And the tiger paw means that you have to be a member of the college. It's going to make you log in if you're off campus. But you just have to click on any of these. So here's Humanities International Complete. You click on the title, it takes you to the database. And then it's a process of knowing how to search it, but basically you can just throw things in there and try and see what you get and let your results teach you a little bit more about what you need to do. So this is Humanities International. Let's do translation theory again. Even though we started in anthropology, we're in a broader database that covers anthropology and other things. All right, so we got 442 results. I can, with a pool of that size, I can limit this to full text if I think that's a good idea, or I can limit it to scholarly if that's a good idea for my assignment. And then it will update it, and now we're down to 339. You can also limit further by source type or by subject. The other thing that you can do is hover over this little paper with the magnifying glass, and it will give you the abstract summary of what the article is about, so you have a better idea of whether or not it would be worth taking a look at. What I usually do, if I think in an EBSCO database, something might be helpful. Let me see if this is going to go there. Yeah, there's this little icon here that says add to folder. It's going to allow me to get easily to the things that I think I might need. So you're probably going to be doing several searches on different keywords, and it'll be hard to find what you think you might need later on. But you can also use these subjects right here to help you with what you're doing. These are the ways that the database creators described what this article is about. So you can cut and paste this search up here into the search box and get more precise findings for articles for what you were looking for. That is really, really fast tour of the databases. If you want the full text, you just click here. And if we don't have the full text, you can check for it by clicking the link right here. And it will take you to what's called a link resolver to see if we've got that. If you really want that and it doesn't come up with anything on the check for full text, contact your librarian. We may be able to get a hold of it for you. Or you could do the Interlibrary Loan request through Iliad as well. Questions? What questions do you guys have? Yes, sir.
So this doesn't have to do with the databases, but the reference materials, will those be migrated into the life preserve, the life raft?
Lifeboat?
Yes, the reference book collection, I believe, stays in Tech South.
I think that's right.
Goes into the movable stacks in the basement, I assume, where the government docs are now?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because some of those are pretty cool and can't take them out of the library.
Right.
We have some really awesome subject encyclopedias in print that you might want to take a look at. We have like multi-volumes on primary source documents from the Middle Ages. We've got calendars that will show you events that were happening through the century. We've got dress and costume. We've got legislative information. We've got just about everything you can think of. We have a really cool subject encyclopedia about it. We also have those online. And when I drop down the subject bar to narrow things down, one of the things you can narrow it by is reference, and that will show you all of our encyclopedia sources. Anything else? Chad, you had such a brilliant answer earlier. Do you have a brilliant question for me? No pressure.
Well, I have a question, but it's not brilliant.
Okay, go for it.
The scheduling software that interfaces with Outlook, do you know what it is?
Yes, it's made by a company called SpringShare that specializes in libraries. I'd be happy to show it to you.
Great. And I know faculty wants something like that in general. I found a few things on the web and I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
nothing
this works really, really well. We've been using that for this past academic year, and I've had probably more than other folks. I'm not sure why. Maybe I'm enthusiastic about talking about it. I don't know. But I've had maybe 20 students make appointments through the academic year with that.
It's the same company that makes the live guide software and things like that, so we've had really good experiences with them.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? How am I doing with time?
EBooks are good.
Whoa! Look at that. All right. Are we having any challenge questions, Weston?
Sorry? What do you?
Do we have any, like, chocolate throwing questions?
Oh, yes. Where will all the librarians be located?
Tut South.
All right, other challenge question, let me look over the notes I was taking. Oh, how many miles of books do we have?
Technically, that's with the periodicals, but that was the only
Okay.
mileage I gave you. So
That's on the shelf, so if you put it end to end, it'd be way
It'd be a lot more.
And finally, where can you see lovely, smiling pictures of librarians and find out which librarian can help you?
Find your librarians.
Very good.
And Shelley, I think we had
Oh,
just
it's
enough bags for the non-IT folks.
Oh, excellent.
Is that right?
I wouldn't want to read yet.
Pardon, is there any dark? I can't eat milk.
I don't
There
think so.
is
There's
no
a
dark
couple.
chocolate left, that's the most.
Been kicked over.
Okay.
So this is a little book bag emblazoning with our favorite library.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
I want to thank
you.
Shelley and Steve for showing up and answering all our questions today, and for being prepared to, and helping us with this big transition.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll continue to communicate as best as we can through all the various ways, through the website, through the listservs and things like that. But the other moral of the story is, come by or give us a call or use the chat function, and we are always happy to help you out or help, you can refer students if you're working with students in the dean's office or something. Just remind them that we're still here and we're still, it makes us excited to help them out. So.